Well, it took a long time. When I was 15 years old, I became fascinated by how cities work, specifically Manhattan, and I just fell in love with maps, and I was obsessing over maps, and I taught myself how to program so I could put a map on the screen. And then I taught myself how to put dots on the map, and then I taught myself how to move the dots around. And suddenly I had this gorgeous map with all these moving dots, and I thought it was the most amazing thing in the world, but the dots had no meaning whatsoever. So I sought out some meaning, and I found dispatch. I found taxis, I found 911 services, emergency, and I found public databases that tracked their locations. So suddenly I had some meaning for my dots. But more importantly, I had this very rich picture of what was happening in Manhattan right now, in St. Louis. And in 2000, I realized that there was one missing piece of that, and it was the citizens, it was my friends. So I tried to build a system like Twitter in 2000 with a BlackBerry and email. And I was the only one using it, and it turned out that none of my friends were interested in what I was doing.
What was your pitch? Can you send it to me in 2000?
Yes.
What did you tell your friends?
Well, I told my friends that I'll be sending my emails. I'll sending these emails to this service as I'm walking around the park, and they'll be going to you in real time. And they were like, no, I don't want that. Stop. So that didn't work out. And in 2006, I was working at a company called Odeo with my co-founders Biz Stone and Evan Williams. And it was a podcasting company, and we were looking at SMS, and SMS was getting really, really big in this country, in the US at that time. And we were looking at group communication and how to fit podcasting into group communication. And the idea came up again, and we were given 2 weeks to work on it, and we made it happen, and that was it.
But so, you were obsessed by the idea. You told me once that you knew it would be huge.
Yeah, I knew the concept was huge because I saw it in all of my work since I was 15. I got into dispatch from that work. I stayed in dispatch until about 2000, and then I got into medical devices. Saw the same concept. The concept being short format messages and publish, subscribe in real time. And you can use this for dispatch. You can use this for vertical industries. You can use it for friends, and you can use it for social movements.
So I guess you would tell probably the room that if they have an idea and all your friends said no, don't do it, keep going, right?
Keep going if you love it. Always have a plan B. Always have something else to work on. But it's the hardest thing about any idea is getting started, and that is the most important thing as well.
One more thing about Twitter, because we'll move on to your next startup, which is very impressive. But what was your expectation? Did you ever expect? So you were saying all your friends were saying no, we won't use that. But what was your expectation in terms of how big it would be? Because Twitter is growing in a very impressive way. Did you ever think you would have like the entire room here on Twitter?
Well, no. Like we were talking about earlier, I knew the concept was big, but the velocity that it's taken was very surprising. But the most surprising thing is how the users are constantly redefining it every single day. They're making it their own. Most of the features that you see in Twitter today did not come from me. It did not come from the company. And that's including the biggest features, which are @replies, mentions, retweets, hashtags. These all came externally to the company. And from our users. So that was the most surprising thing, is that people adopted this technology and just made it their own, and they use it in a variety of different ways.
Very, very impressive growth, really, as you know. We're kind of excited about it. So it's also how you got the idea of a new company. How did you start Square?
Yeah, so as we were going on with Twitter, there's three concepts that really emerge from what Twitter is for me personally, and that is immediacy, approachability, and transparency. I think Twitter does a very good job at bringing these three concepts to the world and to organizations, and makes everything a little bit more human. And there's two other industries in particular which I think are in dire need of this, and this is healthcare and the financial world. Healthcare is very interesting in the US because there's so much contention right now, but it's going to take about 2 years before we can really get in and create something interesting. But the financial world is amazing right now because there's been this clearing of the slate. And someone can step in and do something pretty interesting, because a lot of these organizations, a lot of these industries are looking for smaller, more innovative ideas. So there's an opportunity right now to create something very cool. So we looked at we looked at the field, and my co-founder is a glass artist, and he sells things that people don't need. He sells $2,000 glass faucets. No one needs that in their house, but they're beautiful. And what he found is if he could not take a credit card payment, he would not make the sale, because no one carries $2,000 of cash with them, and no one carries their checkbooks anymore. So we started looking into why it was so difficult to receive credit card payments. It's very, very easy to pay with these things. 90% of the US has moved to them in the form of credit cards or prepaid cards or debit cards. But accepting them is very difficult. So we figured out a way to get people in and accepting credit cards in under 10 seconds, and we're calling it 10 seconds. And we're calling it Square. And the great thing, going back to Twitter, is we were able to launch the entire company with 99 characters, one tweet, and that generated 154 news articles.
So your friends said it would work this time, or not?
This one's a little bit more. This one's easier to explain than Twitter was. Twitter was a little bit more abstract. So I'd love to show you.
Sure, charge me anytime, Jack. You might just want that we set up a camera.
Absolutely. Okay. So we're starting on the iPhone and the iPod Touch. The iPod Touch specifically because it's this really nice general purpose computer that you can buy for $200 in the US, and you have everything you need. So we're calling the application Square, and you can start it up, and you can take credit card payments here. So I can take $3. I can put in a note. I can take a picture of what I'm selling or who I'm selling to.
You might want to wait because we don't have it on.